I'm Alice Choi, a wife, mother of two, home cook, and I run a food blog called Hip Foodie Mom. Today, we're going to be meeting with registered dietitian Jen Haugen. So Jen, we just got back from the grocery store. Can we talk about what we do now once we've gotten home with our meat and poultry? Because this is probably the most important part.
Yes, well, I think food safety is really important because 1 in 6 of us as Americans will get foodborne illness sometime this year. And it starts with bringing that food home.
Right.
So even, you have your reusable bags, make sure you're washing them and keeping them clean, because there's been a study or multiple studies that have looked at that and shown that lots of bacteria live in these bags. Once you've got your food home and properly stored, it really comes down to 4 key things that you can do to keep your food safe. And the first one is washing your hands. So even bringing that food home and putting it in the refrigerator, your hands are already contaminated. And anytime I handle meat, I always use paper towels instead of a towel, because you can always transfer bacteria if you're just using a towel. So the second tip that I have would be to keep things separate. And that would be especially when you're preparing your meats and your poultry. You want to have a separate cutting board for raw meat, and you want to have a separate cutting board for cooked meat. Also really important to make sure you get cutting boards that are dishwasher safe and not using wood cutting boards. And the third thing would then be using a meat thermometer and making sure it gets cooked to the proper temperature. You can eliminate all bacteria in your raw meats by getting things to the right temperature.
Can you go through what those different temperatures are?
Yes, there are 3 you need to keep in mind. So starting at 145, that's what you should cook your pork to, and any whole cuts of beef. So that would be like your steak and your roasts. Of course, you can cook it more well done on the beef if you would like, but that's the minimum that you need to get to. And then 160 is ground beef. You want to make sure that you get it up to that temperature. And then poultry, so that would be your chicken and your turkey, need to be at 165. So last but not least is storage. So promptly, as soon as possible, is after your meal, put it in a container, and you want to make sure that you can maybe label it too, so you know, when did I put this in here. And I like to have them clear just because you can see then what's inside, otherwise you tend to forget.
Well, Jen, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. We learned what the different food labels mean at the grocery store. And here we learned some fabulous food safety tips. Some may be new to you, to others, maybe just a good reminder. But regardless, these are fantastic food safety tips that every home cook should be following in their kitchen.